Watching boats pass, living so fast, living life casual, platinum watch fragile. I've been maintaining, still fighting through it. I got the heart to do it. I'm taking bigger steps. I live a normal life. I like to ride my bike. I came a long way from cold nights, dodging vice. She jumped on the flight.
What is going on YouTube? It is your boy, MidwestBikerboy, man. And as you guys can see, I have the 2024 CFMoto 450ss right next to me. And after 1 year of ownership, we are going to find out today, is this the best beginner sport bike? Stick with me, man. We're going to get right to it. So the first thing we'll get into is my ownership experience with the CFMoto 450ss. I had it for a little over a year now. I purchased it from Bright Power Sports. And the MSRP for this motorcycle is about $56.99, but my out the door price was a little over $9 grand. And I'll put all the documents in the video as well, somewhere over here or here. And I did mention this in one of my previous videos, but just be wary of all the dealership fees that are included when you're purchasing a motorcycle from a dealership. For me personally, I was just so excited to get the bike that I didn't pay much attention to my out the door price. I just knew how much money I was putting down, and I knew I was going away with a bike that day, and it really didn't matter what else happened.
You stupid.
They're not.
What's 9 plus 10?
21.
You stupid.
So the three main pillars that I'll cover is the reliability, the modifications I've done to the bike, and also the performance. And above all, is it a best fit for you? Whether you're an intermediate rider, a beginner, or even an advanced rider, I personally feel like you can get some value out of this bike. So as far as the cost of the ownership of this motorcycle, there's really not much at all, which is why I recommend it for beginners. It has a 3.7 gallon fuel tank. Usually it costs about $10, maybe 11 to 12 to fill this gas tank up on the daily. And on average, I would say my range of mileage I get out of it is about 120, 130, which is pretty good for a sport bike, honestly. Especially if you use it as a commuter bike, you will be probably filling it up maybe once a week, honestly, depending on your commute. As far as maintenance, I've done all of the maintenance on the bike myself. It has never been to a dealership rather than when I first bought the bike. But I've changed the oil, I've cleaned the chain, I've even replaced the tire. Obviously I didn't put a new tire on the rim, but I was able to take the tire off and take it to a shop, have them put it on, and I was ready to go. So as far as the negatives on reliability, again, it's never left me stranded, never left me anywhere worrying how I'm gonna get back home. But it did have a feature on there where even if the kickstand is down and you're in gear, you can still start the bike. And obviously if the kickstand is down, the bike will not move even if you tried it. But when you kick that kickstand up and you're in gear, you're ready to go. Unfortunately, that feature has faded. So now I can only start the bike in neutral, which is kind of odd, honestly. And in certain situations, it could be dangerous. For example, if you're at a stop sign or a stoplight and you happen to stall the bike, you then have to put it back in neutral, start the bike again, and then go back into gear. This can be dangerous, especially if you have cars behind you, or I guess you can say impatient riders behind you, because if you start a bike and then the car behind you doesn't even notice you stop, you could get rear-ended. But fortunately, I'm comfortable enough with the bike to where I really haven't stalled it in thousands of miles. I really don't have to worry about that, but that is still a great feature to have on a motorcycle. I'm not sure where the issue came. I haven't even tried to fix it, but it is a minor negative on the bike. Now, this could be subjective based on the owner of the CFMoto 450ss, but I did low side the bike early on, and it did some minor damage, more so just like on the side and on the pegs, which I did replace. But the TFT buttons can be sticky sometimes. So for example, my up button, sometimes it gets stuck when I'm trying to just go through the screens. But again, that's very minor. Now, as far as comfortability, I personally think this bike is very, very comfortable. I have the upgraded seat, which is about, I think 11 or 12 millimeters. So it's thicker and it sits you up a little taller. So that definitely helps when you're on your longer commutes. I ride this bike to work every chance I get. And most of the time, I would not say I'm uncomfortable on the bike. Obviously, it's a sport bike, so you have the natural position of being hunched over, but there's never been a time where I absolutely had to get off the road and, you know what I'm saying, take a quick break while I'm on the bike. I think the longest I may have rode this bike was for an hour and a half-ish. And out here in Michigan, especially in the busier areas, there is tons of traffic, and I've been in traffic with this bike for over 30 minutes at a time. Comfortability-wise, I daily this bike every chance I get, and I have no complaints about it. So as far as performance of the motorcycle, it has 2 cylinders, 49 horsepower, and it is a 449cc. It also has 29 feet-pound of torque. The bike is a 6-speed like most sport bikes are these days. It has a slipper clutch, and one of my favorite features is it also has front brembo brakes. On top of that, it also offers the option to switch to GP shift, which I think is a great option, especially for your intermediate or advanced riders who might take the bikes to the track. So you can get tons of value out of the bike, whether you're the beginner that just wants to commute or the advanced rider who might take it to the track and, you know, get around the twisty. And with the ABS being mandatory on the bike, I think it's great for a beginner because it's very forgiving. For example, when I first got the motorcycle, it was my first bike, so naturally I didn't know what I was doing starting out. There were times where I might come to a stop too fast, I might be going around a turn too fast and I slam on the brakes a little too much, but the bike is very forgiving and keeping you stable. And even if you're in a slight lean and you might brake too hard, might not brake enough, the bike actually, you know, tries to stand you up. So, you know, it's very forgiving in that standpoint. And again, the one time I low-sided, it was my idiotic mistake. I took the ABS out and I went around a curve a little too fast, going probably like 15, 20 miles per hour. But if I would have had that ABS in there, it probably would have helped out a lot more. So as far as the real world feel that this bike gives, again, I told you guys, it is my commuter. So I ride it to work every chance I get. And it is a very, very comfortable ride. It has just enough acceleration to where if you need to get out of situation to where you need to speed up and get around, you can, but it's nothing that's overbearing, nothing that's going to scare you while you're riding the bike. And that's why I like the bike. Once you learn the bike, and I'm not going to say master, but you're very, very comfortable riding it, you understand how that throttle works. It's very awesome to ride, and at this point, it's like clockwork for me to get on it and, you know, give it some gas, and it's not going to flip me upside down. Now, obviously, it's a 450ss, so it's not going to be nothing that's just going to shoot you down the road like a rocket, but it is more than enough to be on the highway at highway speeds, even above highway speeds for people in Michigan, just to get around though. One downfall, which is like any 450ss, is you have to really go through the gears. So if you're on the highway, you're mandatory going to be in 5 or 6. And honestly, if you're going above 75, 80, you might be more comfortable in 6 anyway. But again, that is just any 450, any 400 bike is going to have that, you know, that issue. With the bike being 370 pounds, that sounds like it's heavy on paper, but once you ride the bike and it's moving, it is very light and nimble. When I'm riding this bike, it is very easy for me to lean it. I feel comfortable if something was to jump in front of me and I have to swerve around it. This bike is very, very weavable. And I'll also put in some riding clips as well. For comfort for a sport bike, I really don't know if it gets much better than this. I actually love this seating position because it's kind of prepping me up for the next step whenever I get a more sporty bike like a super sport. You know, obviously those are going to be a lot less comfortable because they don't keep that in mind when they make sport bikes because they're not made for that, you know. If you want a comfortable bike, get you a naked, get you an adventure bike. But with this sport bike, it gives you a good introduction to what sport bike riding will be like, and it gives you that feel of what any sport bike will be like, a very similar feel. It's one of those bikes where it might keep up with a lot of bikes, if not any bike, you know what I'm saying, at 0 miles, maybe going to 40-ish. But after that, it's very tameable, it's very controllable. And that kind of moves me into my next topic. You know, how is the emotional connection with the bike? I'll be honest with you guys, from when I first got the bike until now, I don't get that same excitement out the bike. And it's just really because I'm used to it. Granted, it is a 450, it's 49 horsepower bike, so it's definitely not going to have this ridiculous amounts of power to where you're never going to reach its peak. I reached the peak speed of this bike in the first month of having it. And I feel like after I did that, it was more so like, okay, now I got to actually learn how to ride the bike, you know, how to maneuver it, know when to brake, know when I downshift, how fast is the bike going to slow down, things of that nature. But nonetheless, this is a great, great bike for anybody. Now, if you're looking for that super speed, you're looking for something that's going to damn near scare you every time you get on it, this is not it. And as far as speed goes, it is enough speed, but you got to get used to how it picks up speed because it's not going to instantly just, you know, shoot you forward, especially if you're looking to pass cars. If you're one of those guys that's going in and out of traffic, lane splitting in the very, very snug and tight areas, you can do it with this bike, but you got to understand how it picks up speed. Once you're in this 6th gear, it's not going to really pull you once you give it full throttle. Like I'll show you guys. This is full throttle. Like that right there, that was full power. And yeah, like I said, it's enough to pass cars, but it's not something that's like uncontrollable, if you know what I mean. Because I know if you get on 1,000cc and you yank that throttle all the way back, you might wheelie that bitch, you know what I'm saying, it might flip on you. With this bike, you don't have to worry about overdoing the throttle, especially in 4, 5, and 6. There aren't really much consequences with the bike if you really yank that throttle, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a very subtle speed pickup on this bike. But again, you get what you pay for. If you're looking for something with ridiculous power, this is not it. But again, I love this bike, and just a simple slip-on exhaust, it makes you feel like you're damn near riding like a R7 or MC07. Those bikes have the same engine, but it damn near sounds like those bikes. It has a very deep sound to be a 2-cylinder. And I'm gonna drop her down the gear so we can kind of see how she takes off. But again, it's very easy to maneuver. It doesn't feel like 370 pounds. Like, I feel like I can swerve around anything. If I'm in a hazardous situation where I gotta swerve very quick, I feel confident on this bike, bro. Now I did get the bike flashed, so I feel like I'm getting more power distributed in the higher gears, which I do like a lot. As far as my experience, my first month, I felt very uncomfortable riding the bike. I was very subtle and safe riding it. Now, as far as my expectations from when I first got the motorcycle till now, when I first got it, my first month was sort of a challenge. I didn't really have much throttle control, and the bike is very torquey down low, especially stock. Fortunately, with the Flash, it distributes the power more so in the higher gears, so it's a lot less torquey down low. But my first month, it felt a little chaotic. There were times where I might be at a stop sign or a stoplight, and when I take off, I'm wheeling a little bit. The front wheel is coming off the ground because I didn't have that throttle control, you know, to control the bike. But now riding the bike about a year in at about 7,000 miles, I feel like I'm very comfortable, and I feel like I'm at the point where I want to experience something new. When you first get a car, it's kind of like similar in that way. It can be a little odd because you just don't know how to drive. But once you get comfortable and you don't have like a fast car, for example, if you have a Honda Civic or something of that nature, obviously it's not going to be fast. But then once you get comfortable driving and you progress to another vehicle, and that vehicle is a lot faster, kind of feel the difference, and you kind of understand like, oh, so this is kind of how a quicker car feels. Same thing with this motorcycle. It is a 450, and I think I'm ready to at least jump to a 600 and, you know, just see how that feels, honestly, because I'm just so comfortable on this bike. Now, as far as modifications that I've done to the bike, there aren't many, and I didn't plan on putting a lot of performance mods into this bike simply because it is a 450, right? So it's really not much I can do to make it that much faster. So as far as modifications that I've done to the bike, I have a slip-on aftermarket exhaust, not a full exhaust, just a slip-on. I do love it though because it just changes the entire sound of the bike. It honestly sounds like a 600 at this point. Kind of reminds me of the Yamaha R7 as far as the deep sound it has. But I have the aftermarket exhaust, and I have aftermarket levers, which don't really change the speed of the bike. I also have the Team MSC ECU flash, and to go along with that ECU flash, I got a stage 2 DNA filter just to get a little more airflow going through the bike. Now, like I said, that ECU flash, it changed the bike tremendously. And I mentioned that the bike was very torquey down low being stock, but once that flash was on there, I now have a higher top speed on the bike, which I'll show you some clips of as well. So I definitely recommend that ECU flash if you plan on getting the 450ss, and also pair that with an air filter as well. Now, this bike has never been dyno tuned, and I probably won't do it, so it's not fully in tune as far as the specs on it. But with it being in the condition it's in, with that flash, I think it's just enough for you, bro. Now, as far as my #1 absolute favorite thing about this motorcycle that CFMoto did, is just all the technology they put into it. You have these beautiful, beautiful LED lights, and obviously they do this beautiful startup for you, which I don't think any other motorcycle has, but you have that, which are LED. You have rear LEDs for the tail lights as well as the blinkers. You have a beautiful TFT screen, which has tons of features in it. It allows you to change the dash from conclusion to classic, which is pretty sweet. And on top of all that, there is also a CFMoto app. Now, with the CFMoto app, it allows you to track how long it took you to get from point A to point B. It'll track your range. It'll tell you how many times you leaned over. Okay, boom. So we are going to check out the RIDESYNC app, which is for the CFMoto 450ss. Got a nice little startup screen there. And as you can see, it gives you the ability to name your bike. So I've named mine Midwest CFMoto. It would be dope if they show the actual picture of your bike, or if they let you customize it, but it's already cool as it is. But getting into the app, first thing you'll see at the top right is just my notifications. It has a high engine rev reminder. It has a tracker in it, so essentially you can set the sensitivity to however much it moves or shakes. It'll give you a reminder, and it'll send you the location just in case, you know, someone was to break into your home and they were moving the bike, you would actually know it right then and there. Then if we go on to tracks, this is like my favorite part of the CFMoto, simply because I can go all the way back to when I first got the bike in August of 2024. And it'll literally tell me all the trips I took. So it'll tell you your top speed during that trip. It'll let you know how long it took, how many miles it took. If you go into here, it'll tell me how many times you rapidly accelerated or decelerated, as well as leaned. And honestly, I think it's cool because you really can just track, your progression. Because if we go August 2024, and then we go September, October, November. Obviously, I'm crazy for even riding in November. Like, that's winter time, basically. Oh, wow, I got some December trips, too. But then we go, like, May or June. You could just kind of see my own progression, for example. You see that top speed there, another top speed. And I like to look at it as, like, dang, like, when I look back, like, oh, what was I doing that day? And then it kind of reminds me, like, oh, I was doing this. And as you can see, I rapidly accelerated 9 times, and I rapidly decelerated 3 times, and I leaned the bike over 4 times. So that is sweet. And obviously, you're not going to see the addresses. I'm just blurring them out, but it'll literally show you the mapping of where you started and where you ended at. So that is pretty dope, bro. And you have your inspection tab. If I click here, it'll show me the location of my motorcycle right now, which is dope. And then I can search, say I'm at work, but my bike is at home. I can search like, okay, I gotta go somewhere tomorrow. How long will it take me? I can put in the length of time from where my bike is to that destination, and it'll take me there. So that's pretty sweet. Say I do Ford Field, but that is not the actual Ford Field. Then if we go to my ride, even more details. So this goes day by day for September right now. And I can just literally see what I was doing today, the day before that. You know what I'm saying? I can go all the way back to when I got the bike and literally see the same information that I did show you guys in the other tab, but just a little more detail, which is sweet. Go back, so let's go back to March, for example, because I believe this is the first month that we actually got some weather that was not that bad to, go riding. So that's pretty sweet. But yeah, man, literally shows you your max speed, the total trip time, the miles, how many times you rapidly excelled as well as decelerated. And man, I was riding on this day because, as you can see, the trip time for the whole day, of course, was 2 hours and 50 minutes. So I was getting around. Then if you go into driving behavior, it gives you a chart of everything. And this is monthly data. So for the month of April, it shows you your average mileage, how many miles you've ridden in that month, the amount of time you've ridden. So I rode 15 hours and 22 minutes in April. Max speed was 128. I leaned the bike over 59 times, and I don't even know, what this score means. But let's just check out some other months and see. Okay, see now, I rode about 1,000 miles in May. So I was riding that month. 890, 625, 252. And I think this September will show up once the month is over. But yeah, bro, that's a lot of information in here, man. And again, when you're comparing this to other brands, they don't have all these features, bro. Like, they don't have it. And you're literally getting this information at the price of $56.99 MSRP. And this is just the bike settings. You can go into models and it'll show you literally everything CFMoto has to offer, bro. Like, they are next level with what they got going on, man. Go over to motorcycles. And it starts from the ground up. It'll show you every single motorcycle that they produce or they're about to produce. I believe 675 is on here now. Yep, it is. You can learn more about it. It'll send you to a website and, you know what I'm saying, show you what's going on. Yeah, this is me just kind of going through the task for you guys, but I mean, like, this is impressive if you ask me. Then it has their professional teams, you know what I'm saying? What are they doing right now? You can click into this news. It has things about their products, press releases, again, their race team, events, and company tab. So CFMoto definitely is separating themselves in how, you know what I'm saying, they get you engaged with the bike, man. And like I said, as a beginner, for this to be my first bike and for me to have all this information at the touch of my hands, it's just pretty sweet, bro. But yeah, that's it for the CFMoto app, you guys. Honestly, if you compare that to any other brand, especially the big ones like Kawasaki, Yamaha, Honda, even Suzuki, none of those brands at all have these sort of features. And I think that's like my #1 thing that I love about the bike. Because as a beginner, I'm on a bike that's slower, especially compared to other guys. Now I know I'm not going to be the fastest on the road. All the people I ride with, they have 600 and 1000 cc's, so they're leaving me in the dust. But I know I have features that they do not have. I got a TFT screen, which is beautiful, it's clear. And I also have the ability to have a phone app, which tracks tons of performance things for me. And I think that just separates the CFMoto over any other bike brand. And as far as the features of the TFT screen, you have the ability to connect your phone to it via Bluetooth. So if you're having a phone call and you connect your phone to it, you'll be able to answer it right from the display. And also if you have a Cardo or some sort of thing that'll play music for you, you can also control your music from the TFT display. So like these features, you're not gonna get them with any other brand, and you're not gonna get them at the value of $56.99 MSRP. And I did not put many performance mods on the motorcycle, but as you can see, I mean, it speaks for itself. The first thing I noticed besides the lights is these beautiful winglets it has. So like, if you compare it to any other bike around this class, you're not gonna get winglets at all. This is literally the best looking 450 or 400, I guess you could say, on the market. And honestly, I think it also competes with even your 1000 cc bikes, because the thousands are the ones that are gonna have the most features, and most of the time they're also the best looking. And with the 450ss, it's really no comparison to any other bike. Like, it's in its own lane. And I think CFMoto, they knew what they were doing when they did that, because like, it attracts people. And it definitely attracted me because not only is it reliable, but it also looks good. Now, I believe CFMoto began producing this bike in either 23 or 24. Mine is a 2024. And I'm the kind of guy, I like to look good and also feel good, whether I'm in my car or I'm on my motorcycle now. And when I did my exploring on eBay and AliExpress, the modifications are almost endless, man. I purchased about 3 different windscreens for the bike. I have these aftermarket winglets on the bike. And obviously my CFMoto was wrapped, but it's really no comparison if you're comparing it to another 400cc or 500cc, hell, even a 600cc. I think this bike looks better than all those, to be honest. And even the thousands as well. The thousands are the ones that are gonna have all the top tier mods, all the top tier looks, and they're also gonna have the most features. And aside from the personal mods that I've done on the bike, as far as the windscreen, the wings, the levers, the lever guards, grips, the seat, I think what really sets my CFMoto apart is just the wrap that I put on here, man. I think it really just expresses me as an individual, but even a stock CFMoto, you're still gonna get that beautiful look out of it, and you're also gonna feel good while you are riding. And as far as pros and cons of the motorcycle, I actually have a list here because I want to be very detailed in this. I feel like this is the best bang for your buck bike. Not only is it the best bang for your buck bike, in my personal opinion, it's the best looking. That's very subjective from person to person, but I feel like a lot of people wouldn't disagree with this. So with my list, I'm gonna list off some other motorcycles that fall around this same class, and I'll tell you the price, and I'll also show you a visual of them so you can see how they look compared to mine. So you have your Ninja 400 that comes in at an MSRP of $53.99. Your KCM RC390 comes in at $58.99. Yamaha R3 at $54.99, Honda CBR 500 at $73.99, Ninja 500 at $56.99, and your Ninja ZX4RR, which is about $9,900. And this motorcycle is extremely beginner friendly, but still very, very fun no matter what kind of riding you're doing. As far as cons of the bike, I already mentioned some negatives, but there aren't really any flaws or annoyances or anything that has me wishing that this motorcycle had. This bike is damn near perfect, especially for your beginners. The only downfall, and it's just the nature of a 450 or a 400, is simply that it's just not enough at this point. Riding the bike for 1 year at almost 7,000 miles, I'm just craving something more. I'm craving a new motorcycle just to see how your 600s or your 1000s feel. I rode a RS660 as well as a ZX14R, and after riding those bikes, I'm like, yeah, I need to upgrade. But still, riding this bike for a year, I still have no annoyances with it, and I'm very, very satisfied that I purchased this bike. And now, we will get into the final verdict. Is the CFMoto 450ss the best sport bike after 1 year of ownership? And I say this with the most confidence in the world, yes. I mean, it speaks for itself. It has enough performance as far as the power, and it also obviously has the looks to compete with any bike in the same class. And besides the fact that it has 49 horsepower and 450 cc's, are there really any other negatives about the bike? I mean, it's unique in how it looks. It has the tech that no other motorcycle has, and it's $56.99. There's not any other bike around that price range that you're going to get the bang for your buck out of, the looks out of, and again, it has enough power to do any sort of riding, so really, can you even argue that? And now, for my people who own this bike, or my people who have another beginner bike, I want to know your thoughts down below. So please drop your opinions and let me know whether you think the CFMoto 450ss is the best beginner sport bike for anyone to start on. And now, as I always say, man, it was your boy, MidwestBikerboy, man. I hope you guys enjoyed my 1 year review of my motorcycle, specifically the CFMoto 450ss. I hope you guys got some value out of this video, and we are on the road to 500 subscribers, man. So please, I need all your guys' help. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and drop your comments down below if you did enjoy my review. On top of all that, really the like button is just a way to get me into the algorithm. You have these big content creators like Fastlane D, Jixer Bruh, Brian636, I'm K, Fastflow KC, Adobo Moto, and I watch all those guys and I support all those guys. And some of you may as well. But it is very, very appreciated if you can give me that same support, because I want my videos to get in the algorithm with those guys. I want you guys to be able to watch a Fastlane D video, and in those suggestions you see a MidwestBikerboy video. But besides that, it was your boy. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm gone, man. Peace.